Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the work of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. Picking up from where we left off last week. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security on Monday hosted an orientation exercise for 17 domestic violence hotline operators. The operators will be tasked with manning the 914 toll-free hotline, which was launched in December for persons to report incidents of domestic violence. Minister, the Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, urged operators to keep in mind that 914 is not just another hotline number, but rather a safe space where abused persons, including children, can seek help.
The way in which violence goes, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, many persons who are experiencing violence are in very close proximity with the perpetrators of abuse and violence, very close proximity. And it's extremely difficult to find not only the strength to call, but to find that space away to seek help. And when they do find all of these things, to call 914, we must give them help. Help will come in many ways from 914. I do not believe, as I said, that it should be another hotline.
Minister Prasad said it is important that trust is built between persons calling and the operators. She said there would be ongoing training and periodic performance assessments. Minister of Public Service, the Honorable Sonia Parag, says salaries for public servants will be increased. Speaking on NCN's Budget in Focus program, Minister Parag stated that this is outlined in the PPPC's manifesto, a promise that will be kept.
There is an increase, there will be an increase in 2021 for all public servants. It is a fact that the line item 62141 caters for an increase in salary, right? Now, the Vice President would have, on social media, I believe 2 days ago, said that $10 billion was allocated on the line item 62141, which was previously known as revision of wages and salaries, now known as employment costs. And that huge sum of that, a huge portion of that, will be going towards increases in salaries.
Minister Parag said while reactions to government's $383.1 billion budget may be political or genuine, improving the lives of workers is something the government takes seriously. Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Bishop Juan Edgell, has noted his dissatisfaction with the slow pace of work taking place at the Leg 1 stelling. According to the contract signed under the previous administration, the stelling should have been completed in 2019. Minister Edgell inspected the stelling before addressing residents on Tuesday.
Utterly dissatisfied with the pace and the performance of this project. Because while the contractor is asking for extensions of time, we understand that you are suffering. This project was intended to bring benefits to you, not distress to you.
Minister Edgell said a decision on the matter will be made soon.
If after tomorrow, Mr. Murad cannot get this project completed within what will be described a reasonable time frame, and in keeping with our expectations, another contractor will have to be engaged to get the job done.
Also on Tuesday, Minister Edgell visited Regions 5 and 6 to inspect ongoing roadworks. After making a stop at works on the D-Hoop Access Road, the minister met residents in No. 2 Village, where rehabilitation works are taking place on Brehespat Street. Minister Edgell urged the contractor and staff attached to the ministry to ensure the works are done in accordance with the $31.6 million contract.
I'm saying the bill and the scope must be implemented. And if there are any changes, it's not a beat-on arrangement between the contractor and the engineer. It must be officially recorded by way of a letter.
Minister Edgell also inspected the $67 million project to rehabilitate part of the main access road in Blackbush Polder.
Part of the sum that have been allocated for miscellaneous roads are rollover projects. Projects that started in 2020 that are continuing. So we have 160-something roads that are being built currently. We have about just over 2 billion in new works that will be started.
Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, on Tuesday visited the Greater Georgetown Fishermen Co-op Society Wharf at Meadowbank, Rumveld, where he met fisherfolk who currently use the facility to ply their trade. During the meeting, several issues including the need for police patrols and access to water from GWI were raised. To this, Minister Mustafa promised to have these concerns addressed by the respective ministers and GWI.
Many persons complain about robbery and the security problem here. It seems that if we want to develop this area, we have to have proper security. They are also saying that whenever the police come, they are not taking the kind of action they had supposed to take. I plan to raise it with Minister Ben, and also I will have a joint meeting with the co-op, the fishermen, and the commander for Georgetown, so that they can enhance security at this place here.
Minister Mustafa said the area has potential to be developed into a world-class facility. He said he would be asking the Department of Fisheries to look into the matter, as well as offer some guidance in the area of management to the current occupants. The minister said proper measures need to be put in place to upkeep and develop the facility. Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Charles Ramson Jr. says traditional Mashramani activities will not be held this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Instead, a virtual cultural presentation will be held and streamed live.
There will be a Republic Day celebration. The Mashramani itself is deferred when we can do it in a much more safe environment. There will be the flag raising ceremony the night before our Republic Day, or 51st Republic Day. There will be a cultural activity, but on the night of our Republic Day, which is the 23rd, we're also going to be doing a cultural presentation that's going to be streamed and broadcasted live, a virtual event, so that we can take that celebration into the homes of people where it's safe. They can celebrate it at home as well. The float parade obviously can't be done because of COVID. It's too high a price to pay for us to do that. And it's a logistical nightmare to even contemplate doing that.
The Calypso, Chutney and Soca Monarch competitions will take place virtually next month. Guyana will observe its 51st Republic anniversary on Tuesday. Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Frank Anthony, said the response to the Mass Drug Administration program to eliminate filaria in Guyana has been positive, with over 39,000 persons already immunized. He was speaking during the daily COVID-19 update. Dr. Anthony said since Monday's launch, the public has capitalized on the opportunity to protect themselves.
It has been going very well because we have started with with Region 4 and with Region 3. And our expectations, we are going to be spending at least 14 days in these two regions. So far, the response has been really good. We were able, as of yesterday afternoon, to reach at least about 39,000 persons.
The minister is urging people not to miss this crucial opportunity to protect themselves against the filaria disease.
Our teams continue to work, and we would like to urge the population to give them their cooperation, because if we're all successful at this particular program, then in a few months, WHO would be able to certify that we have eliminated filaria from Guyana.
Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, the Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh, says the reduction in fuel prices means more money in the pockets of the ordinary man. Dr. Singh spoke to DPI on the matter after government slashed excise tax on fuel from 50% to 35% on Wednesday.
The relief on the fuel prices will enable consumers, they no longer have to pay that much for fuel, so they have a few extra dollars that they can do something else with. For businesses, they no longer have to pay that much for fuel, so they have a few extra dollars that they can invest in something else, or pay for something else, or do whatever it is that they will do with their additional cash flow to generate more economic activity.
Government's intervention sees the price for gasoline reduced from $184 to $170 per litre. Meanwhile, diesel has been reduced from $170 to $160 per litre. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security plans to use $30 million of its budgetary allocation to build a complex at Mahaika, East Coast, Demerara, to train persons with disabilities. Minister, the Honourable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, says this goal is in line with government's mandate to empower all citizens.
We need to ensure that there's equal pay when they are in the working world, so there's been a push very early when I got into the ministry to ensure that persons living with disabilities, they can have employment. So now moving in this direction with the construction of a disability complex, we are equipping them with the skills so that they can get into the working world.
Minister Prasad says once the facility is completed, it will cater for persons living with different kinds of disabilities. The programs will cater to all education levels and early school leavers. Prime Minister the Honourable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips and Minister of Amerindian Affairs the Honourable Pauline Sukai disbursed some $152 million in COVID-19 investment grants and $9.1 million in capital grants and assets to several villages across Potaro-Siparuni, Region 8. The funds are to stimulate economic growth and boost the livelihood of residents. 2 all-terrain vehicles were also handed over to the villages of Penak and Kurukubaru.
We don't want to focus only on relief efforts on the coastal areas, but we want to focus on relief efforts throughout Guyana. And what we had was a substantial amount of money, a large amount of money, in the 2020 budget. If I can give you the figure, it's $1.7 billion. That's a lot of money. Yes, and we decided that we will divide up that money and hand it out to all the Amerindian villages throughout Guyana. Whether it's in the hinterland, whether it's closer to the coast, doesn't matter. We'll hand it out because we feel that with that money, you can invest it in an important project or projects for your village that will help you to ride through this COVID-19 period.
Minister Sukai said the investment fund will ensure the village economies do not slump further but overcome the challenges endured during the APNU AFC's tenure.
The villages will have to utilize the funds according to the needs of the community with respect to economic ventures, the ICT hub, including productive infrastructure.
Meanwhile, Minister within the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, the Honourable Anand Prasad, says 3 major marketplaces across the country are set for rehabilitation following the passage of Budget 2021. These are the Charity Market in Region 2, Parika Market in Region 3, and the Monrepo Market in Region 4. During NCN's Budget in Focus program, Minister Prasad said $30 million will be spent to rehabilitate the Charity Market, another $30 million for the Parika Market, and $70 million for the Monrepo facility.
You will see a comprehensive rehabilitation of those markets, which will, of course, make it more accessible to the persons who are going there to buy, and also will create the environment for produce to be delivered at the markets in a timely manner, and of course, sanitization of that market.
Minister Prasad says the work will be complemented by the establishment of farm-to-market roads under the Ministry of Agriculture's budget allocation. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Honourable U. Todd, spearheaded a hamper distribution to several communities in Upper Demerara, Berbice, Region 10. More than 40 food hampers were distributed to vulnerable residents of Nottinghamshire. 3 Friends, Siberia Old England, Kumaka, West Watuka, Blueberry Hill, and Block 22, Linden. The Foreign Minister said the government sees each citizen as its most valuable resource and wants to include all in its developmental drive. He also noted the wide-ranging measures in the 2021 national budget, including the investments in the education, health, and social sectors, which will meet the needs of all Guyanese. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, the Honourable Dr. Ashni Singh, says salary increases are catered for in Budget 2021. Minister Singh made the statement during his appearance on NCN's Parliamentary Agenda program.
To suggest otherwise is, in my opinion, not the responsible thing to do, to be honest with you. You know, a quick cursory look through the budget estimates will indicate very clearly that that allocation is there. And so I can say definitively, Budget 2021 includes an allocation to cover what we describe as other employment cost, which includes revision of wages and salaries, which includes a provision for a potential increase in salaries to public service to employees in the central government.
Minister Singh last Friday presented a $383.1 billion budget themed A Path to Recovery, Economic Dynamism and Resilience. Minister of Natural Resources, the Honourable Vikram Bharat, says government is committed to the development of the traditional sectors, even as the country prepares for oil and gas. Minister Bharat made a statement at the launch of wood product supplier Floor It's showroom in Queenstown.
Our government is fully committed to ensuring that we support all sectors, to ensure that we support all the traditional productive sectors.
Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, the Honourable Onij Walron, and Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, the Honourable Susan Rodriguez, also attended the launch. Both ministers noted government's continued commitment to developing the local business sector.
These initiatives is not government simply just putting money into the coffers of businesses or giving away money, but every grant or every loan guarantee provided, the government is signaling in a very tangible way that we are investing in the growth and development of small businesses.
While we've just come out of a very trying period, it is very clear to all who can see and who wish to participate. It's very clear that there's a huge transformation that is about to take place in our country. And our government has been very clear that in order for us to see this transformation, we will ensure that there is the necessary policies and programs that will see Guyanese benefiting.
That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website, dpi.gov.gy, and our social media platforms. Goodbye.